Yes, good morning. Good morning. My name is Paul Isok. Good morning. I'm from the Division of Marketing in the School of Business Sciences. I'm here to learn more about grant writing because I intend to apply for some grants this year. Thank you.
Good, good. Welcome. Thanks for joining us, Paul. Next up is Purnima.
Morning, everyone. I'm Purnima I'm a lecturer in pharmacy, and today I'm here to learn more about grant writing to seek grant opportunities other than the FDR or something bigger, better.
Yes. Yeah. Super, super. Very important in your field of research, Purina, because it's quite an expensive area of research. So funding really enables your career development. And that's true for all of us, a number of people on probation. And, you know, your career depends on your success of this. So, you know, it's important to learn the basics. And as I said, they're different to what you've been taught up to now or what you've learned up to now. Welcome. Prudence is up next.
Good morning. Morning. My name is Prudence. I am a DSI intern. I work at VETS as a researcher at the Department of Physio. This is my first time attending, and I am really looking forward to learn.
Thank you, Prudence. Thanks for joining us. Pumla.
Morning, everyone. My name is Pumla. I'm from the Department of Family Medicine. I'm working as associate researcher. I've written and received a small grant before. So now, as part of my work, I need to attract and write the proposal for the projects that we're doing. So that's why I decided to attend the workshop.
Lovely. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it, Pumla. Quinta.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Quinta Keminde Wunse. It's my first year at the School of Education, and this learning how to write winning proposals is part of my probation. And as a novice supervisor, I would like to attract grants for my students as well. So I'm hoping to learn.
Yeah, welcome, Quinta. That's an important point. You know, some areas of research don't cost as much as others, and then people think, well, you know, I don't need to do grant writing. But we all work with students, and, you know, even if you restrict your grant writing to attract funding for your students, that's also important. So, yeah, welcome, Quinta. Right, Rekotso Mefetsi.
Hey, Robin. I'm Rekotso Chigani at the School of Governance. I'm a lecturer there, and we just started a new center in the school. So I'm trying to catch up with my colleagues' skills in writing grant proposals.
Absolutely. Welcome, man. Thanks for joining us. Robert?
Yes, good morning, everybody. My name is Robert. I'm in the School of Geosciences. I understand that winning grant applications is a very important part of any academic's job. So considering that the funding situation in South Africa is getting more and more challenging, I think it is time to really learn a few good tricks from an experienced NIF person like yourself.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Robert. Robert makes an important point. Funding is quite restricted in South Africa. I mean, the NRF took an 800 million rand cut last year. That's a big chunk of their funding. And so we've had a campaign for some years now to think beyond the NRF. As I was saying earlier, there are funding opportunities all over the world. And remember also, for the very large grant applications that have many components and many institutions involved, we have a person here in the research office by the name of Renee Leroux Goretsky. You'll find her on the email as Renee Leroux Her job is to help project manage the pre-award activities in these very large grants. So don't forget about that facility and function to assist you. Thanks, Robert, for joining us.
Thank you.
Sarentha.
You can see me. No.
Bit quiet, Sarentha, and a bit.
I don't think my camera is working too well.
Not so well, no.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm from the School of Pharmacy and Pharmacology. I'm a fairly new academic at Wits. This is the start of my second year, so I'm still on probation. I've written 2 grants. I've gotten one and was rejected for one, but I haven't had any proper training in how to write grants. So I think I can gain much from this workshop on how to approach it and develop my academic career.
Absolutely, Sarentha. I certainly hope so. But let me say, 50% success rate is brilliant. So keep it up. Lovely to have you. Serge is, I guess that's how you pronounce it. Serge, is it?
Yes. Robin, thank you so much. I'm Serge from Geography. Have been unsuccessful recently, so just want again to expand my knowledge as learning is a process. So that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Good. Welcome, Serge. Simangele. Simangele, I'm battling to hear. Sorry, not hearing.
Yes, how's that now?
Yes, better, much better.
Yes, I'm Simangele Maisela from the Department of Psychology. I have written a few grants and, I have been struggling to receive. And yes, I did receive like smallish grants. So yeah, I'm grateful for that. But I would like to go for bigger grants outside NRF.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is true. I mean, when you start off your career, small opportunities make a big difference. But as you progress, yes, definitely you need to think bigger. You've got to be bolder. You've got to be more, think bigger, bigger opportunities. So welcome. Siyabonga.
Morning, Robin and colleagues. I'm Siyabonga Kunene, a senior lecturer in the physiotherapy department under the School of Therapeutic Sciences. So I'm just here to expand my knowledge and skills in writing grants. There are some projects that I'm doing, so I need some money.
Good, absolutely. Welcome, Siyabonga. Long distance runner, eh?
Oh yes. And also
welcome. Lovely. Thanks for joining us. Stuart.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Stuart Pattinson from the School of Clinical Medicine, doing research in medical education. I'm actually busy working on a PhD proposal, and it felt like this learning was going to be vital early on in the journey, so that's why I'm here.
Good. Welcome, Stuart. So we're going to talk a little bit about different languages used in grant writing and academic writing. So a PhD proposal, might be more on the academic side, but certainly there's lots of things that we'll talk about that will be helpful, I hope, Stuart. So welcome. And the last but not least, Zahira.
Hi, everybody. I'm from the Wits School of Education, and I'm also on probation, so I need it for my probation. I'm also busy writing proposals, and I'm more interested in how to do the budget. So that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, good. So we will cover a little bit on budget, Zahira, although there is a workshop dedicated to that, which goes into more detail. But we will cover a little bit on budgets. All right, welcome, everybody. I hope I haven't missed anybody. It does take a while, but I think it's important. I hope you feel recognized and part of our online function here, and hopefully you feel that you're comfortable. I see there's a hand popping up. Belinda, we missed you, hey?
Hi, Prof. Yes, sorry, I joined a little bit late. I was still teaching, so apologies for that. Yeah, so I'm Belinda. I'm from the Science Education Department, and I am here for 3 reasons. Probation, like I seem like most of you guys are, to see if there's anything new in proposal writing, and then also to see where we can find some opportunities to apply for, if we maybe can, I mean, we know of a few things like NRF and so on, but if there's maybe other spaces where we can look for it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good. Thanks. Welcome, Belinda. Thanks for joining us. So we're going to talk about towards the end, but let me just quickly mention it now. The source, where do you find funding opportunities? And we have access to a funder database called Research Connect. You have to be registered, and I can register you free of charge, of course. But it's a great tool for finding funding opportunities. Just to respond to Belinda straight away, but a useful piece of information for everybody. All right, so welcome everybody. Let's get started. I'm just finding my presentation to share. Obviously, I'm looking at my presentation, so don't see hands pop up. I will stop regularly to take questions and check the chat and things like that. If it's a burning question and you have to have an answer, shout out. I won't mind that. But I will stop regularly, so I won't, leave you out and forget to come back for questions. So very quickly, agenda, background information. I always like to start with some fundamental thinking. What do all winning proposals have in common? That's what I learned at the NRF. Writing the winning proposal, so becoming a little bit more practical now. So even more practical guidelines, and that's largely I'll just leave for you to read, to go through. Developing the budget, as we said, briefly, I won't spend too much time, a little bit on the NRF online and other sources, and then we'll wrap it up. So that's our agenda, and I'll get started straight away with the background context. So why should one have to apply for funding to do research? And another related question, does all research get funded through external funding? I've been fortunate enough to see this statue, and it really does capture the process of thinking. And so I wanted us to think about those fundamental questions. So research and funding. Why should research be the only, and I'm asking, is it the only profession where you begin by asking for funding? I mean, if you worked at, I don't know, Standard Bank or MTN or, whatever private company in South Africa here, do you think you would arrive on your first day in your probation and they say, all right, now go and get some funding so that you can do your work? Surely they'll cover all the costs of your work. So why, for research, is it different? Is it just WITS that is difficult and doesn't want to give you money? Or is it just South African universities? Or is it the same in France? Is it the worldwide? And I think you'll agree with me, it is worldwide. But some more specific questions. A researcher working in a university, certainly, no matter where you are, has to apply for funding. A researcher working in a science council or some type of government research institute, yes, I worked at the CSIR, I had to raise grants. As a researcher working for a non-profit, an NGO or community-based organization, yes, they too, in fact, they have to raise their salaries even, which in some academic circles is the case as well. Often in the USA, they have to raise their own salaries, if not for the full year, certainly part of the year. As a researcher working for a private research company, I worked for a chemical company research department. It was called AECI, African Explosives and Chemical Industries, out in Modderfontein. So early on in my career, after my PhD, I worked there. And the truth is that I never had to raise a grant ever. There was plenty of money to do the research. And then an entrepreneur, we'll get to the entrepreneur at the moment. So let me pause for a moment and stop sharing and ask, would somebody want to say, why do you think we have to raise grants to do our research for all of those, except the private company? Anybody want to share their thoughts?
Okay, I have an idea. Robert.
Go, Robert.
I think it's always good to have some sort of competition, especially when trying to win grants. And the reason for that is that it removes complacency among academics. So they can't expect to just sit there and wait for money to flow towards them. They actually have to work for it. And I think whenever you have to work for something, you try your best. There's an effort, and you're then able really to distill ideas and to see how these ideas compete with others, with other people's ideas. I think it's also important that if there's a limited amount of money available, funding should go to the best proposals, those that can deliver the most advanced research and novelty. And for that reason, competition is critical.
Yeah.
Sad it is, but that's how it is. It's a bit like in sports, you know.
Yeah.
If you want to win a medal, you have to work very hard and you have to compete. Otherwise, you're never going to get to the top.
Absolutely. So certainly, I think it is let's say like a quality assurance process. Absolutely, that is very true. But I think there's a more fundamental reason than that that I've thought about, at least. I don't know. One other person want to have a go? Yeah. Okay. No. Yes, Belinda.
Yes, Prof. I think it does facilitate some collaboration. And I think I mean, sometimes you ask funding from places, not necessarily just for the money, but also for the facilitation and the machines, whatever they have available.
Yeah.
And that also helps, with the project.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, both are entirely correct and entirely valid and important components. But the one that I want to raise is, I want to go back to the thought, when I was in a private company doing research, I didn't have to raise funding. The company gave me the money to cover the costs. But when the market changed, they changed the product, the project I was on. It didn't matter if I was making progress or getting somewhere or doing something really interesting or anything like that. Indeed, that research company, that research department wouldn't even want us to take on, postgrad studies. I had luckily finished my PhD by that stage. But if you had a master's and you want to do a PhD, they didn't want to support that, which seems strange because we were doing research. But the key thing was that they want to be able to move with the market, and they want to stop projects and start projects whenever they think it's important, not because it's interesting, not because it's about good research or good knowledge production or student training. It's about the market. And so I think largely the most fundamental reason why we as academics in a university have to raise our funding for research is that it buys us academic freedom. It buys us the freedom to do the research that we think is important. Because, if the university gave you money, then, whenever there's money given, there's strings attached. So they're going to say, look, I want you to do this type of research. Now, a university is not likely to chop and change like a private company, but even it will want to shape things and drive things and whatnot. So the ability for you to go and find a funder that will fund the research that you want to do, I think, is your academic freedom. Okay, so that's important. And Siyabonga says he doesn't understand why we have to compete. Well, the cake is just so big, and if you divide it up equally amongst everybody, nobody will get enough to do their research. So it goes to the best, which is a quality assurance, like Robert was explaining, but it also makes sure that people get sufficient to do. It does mean that others don't get anything, but the world we live in is around competition. I don't think funding is a socialistic approach. You can't give a little bit to everybody and then not enough to do anything. So that's what I think it's about, buying your academic freedom. And that might give you a different perspective of going through this process. Now, that last one that I covered up, an entrepreneur, I think to be a good academic, you need to be very entrepreneurial. Not in the sense of trying to make lots of money out of your research. I'm not talking about that. But you know, entrepreneurs are known to be, they see opportunities, they grab opportunities, they make the most of what they have dogged determination, they keep on trying, they don't get put off by the first grant that's not funded, grant proposal that's not funded. You know, that mentality of, I'm going to make things happen. And in the academic world, that I think is very important. The people that succeed are those that make things happen. They don't wait for things to happen to them. You know, in your probation, if you sit quietly in the corner, do what you're told, you may or may not be confirmed. You've got to get out there and make it happen. That's key. And entrepreneurs have to get funding, you know, to develop their businesses. They have to get funding, loans, etc., etc. And so the parallels, I think, are very, very strong. And entrepreneurs trying to create her own world, you know, her own business or whatever, and you're trying to create your own academic freedom to chase your academic goals.